Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! My kid's dad works in a large casino here in Vegas in a poker room. He gets a call from one of his regulars saying his friend is there in the poker room and it's his birthday, and he wants to use his casino credit to give his friend $1,500 in chips since it's his birthday. My kid's dad says okay and knows the guy he's talking about, as he's a regular too. So my kid's dad got approved to also give him $500 on comp chips. So my kid's dad goes over to the table and informs the guy he was being given $2,000 for his birthday. Suddenly a lady at the table pipes up and says, "What about the rest of us? Specifically, what about me? My birthday is in 2 weeks. Call the friend back and see if he will give us all $1,500. My kid's dad tells her he won't do that, so she then says they should get $500 from the casino then. My kid's dad told her if she comes in on her birthday, he will see what he can do based on her gambling habits there at the casino. She tells him, "This is my first time here. I can't come back for my birthday because I'm from Canada and I'm only here for a couple of days. But since my birthday is so close, you should at least give me the $500, if not give it to everyone at the table." My kid's dad explained comps like that are for regulars and big spenders. She gets mad and starts yelling at him about how much money she spent on her hotel room and how much money she spent in the casino on this trip. Not a lot compared to what actual big spenders spend at this high-class casino. My kid's dad asked her to calm down and stop causing a scene. She continued to yell and suddenly brought out the "I'm going to get you fired. Do you know who I am?" To which my kid's dad called security and had her escorted out of the poker room and banned her. She actually tried to smack the security guard, so she was told to get her stuff out of her room and find another place to stay, as she was now banned from the whole resort. In the early 2010s, I worked in a supermarket bakery/deli. Since most of my shifts were closing shifts, one of my tasks was to gather all of the expired bread, cakes, pastries, and so on and scan them out to be thrown away. Some days this might be 1 or 2 loaves of bread, sometimes it was a pile of perfectly good, edible food. For example, the cinnamon buns had a 1-day sale date. If I picked them on Monday afternoon, I would need to throw them away Tuesday night. It was company policy at the time, as it is unfortunately in a lot of places, that all food past its sell-by date had to be thrown in the trash. Employees were not allowed to take anything home for free, even if it was literally about to be thrown in a trash bag. They would need to pay for it. We also couldn't donate the food to food pantries, community groups, or homeless shelters. Early on, I even asked the store manager to clarify why we couldn't donate or give away the food, or take it ourselves. And his response was that it was a liability, what if someone got sick, and so on. It's all nonsense, I know. There are plenty of places like Panera Bread that give away day-old bread at the end of the night, and the vast majority of the food I threw away was still perfectly good. But store policy was store policy, and I could have gotten fired for stealing food about to be thrown away. Granted, I was a poor college student, so often I'd smuggle home small items that I could fit in my bag, like bagel rolls or cinnamon buns. A few months into the job, my bakery section supervisor was carrying a stack of sheet cakes out of the walk-in freezer and one fell off the top. The plastic clamshell lid didn't come off, so no food touched the floor, but the cake inside was smashed and unsellable. She told me to mark the cake as shrink, product loss, and said I could put it in the employee break room. I realized in that moment that because the cake wasn't expired, just visually unappealing and unsellable, employees were allowed to eat it. And wouldn't you know it, after that I found myself becoming increasingly clumsy, and always with items that were set to expire the next day. I'd still have to throw away a truly egregious amount of food each night. But at least I could occasionally provide free cakes and pastries to my other minimum wage co-workers. I haven't been on Reddit lately due to a personal matter with my girlfriend. Her only remaining grandparent caught COVID and was hospitalized. We left town together and drove a couple hundred miles to go and support my girlfriend's family. Because my girlfriend and I have been together for so long, I am rather close to her family. Her parents often joke that one day I'll be their son-in-law, whether I like it or not. But while my girlfriend and I were away, my mother found out where my sister and future brother-in-law live now. I kinda expected that to happen at some point, but I figured, after saying we were disowned, that maybe my mother would leave us alone. But evil Mama Bear will always be evil Mama Bear, won't she? While hundreds of miles away from home, I got a warning from my cousin that visits my mother that she'd found out some time ago where my sister was living by spotting her at the local supermarket and following her car home. Apparently, evil Mama Bear just didn't say anything to anyone that she knew for a while, but let it slip to my cousin that she knew and was giddy about getting her daughter back, as she supposedly put it. My sister is a creature of habit and tends to go shopping at the same places and times weekly, and our mother knows that. So her tracking down my sister this way isn't all that surprising. But sis never goes out without her fiance, future brother-in-law anymore, and he told me he's always packing a taser now. Apparently, evil Mama Bear waited till I wasn't around to make her move. She's craftier than I give her credit for. I phoned my sister that I'd heard from our cousin that evil Mama Bear knows where she lives, and to be ready. And the following day, evil Mama Bear showed up at sis's front door with flowers. And of all things, a holy Bible. She rang the doorbell several times and sis did not answer, so she resorted to crying and banging on the door to make a scene. And finally, future brother-in-law answered, and he had both a wireless camera nearby on a table and the police-style body cam that I gave them to record with just in case this happened. As soon as future brother-in-law opened the door, evil Mama Bear threw her arms out like she was going to hug him, only to pull back as soon as she realized my sister wasn't the one to open the door. She looked completely stunned to be face to face with future brother-in-law for a moment before finally speaking. "I'm looking for my daughter. Please let me see her." "I don't think so. Whatever you want to say, you can say from here." "Please, I have to talk to her now. This is all a huge misunderstanding." Sis emerges from another room. "What I understand, Mom, is that you are a racist too. Hate my fiance, demanded I abort my baby and then tried to attack me. Then you disowned me by saying you no longer have any children. What about that was a misunderstanding?" Mom holds up the Bible. "Please, I wasn't myself then. I've done a lot of soul searching and gone to church. I found God. Come home. You can live in my bedroom, huh? I'll sleep in the basement. I'll even let your boyfriend move back in too." Total lie. My cousin would have told me if she was going to church. And from what my cousin has told me, she's never once stopped referring to my future brother-in-law by racial slurs. Sister tells her, "Oh, what about how you referred to us all as racial slur and then broke Craggle's windows with rocks that had more racial slurs written all over them?" "I did what I had to do. Craggle ruins everything." "Craggle didn't ruin anything. He just finally opened my eyes to what kind of person you really are and what person I let you turn me into, Mother." "Don't you mean Mommy?" "No, I mean Mother. I'm never calling you Mommy again." Mom starts bawling and holding up the Bible again. "But the Bible says to honor thy father and thy mother." Future brother-in-law says, "Yeah, and it also says not to provoke your children to wrath." I've never read the Bible, and even I know that. Have you even read it? Or did you just buy it along with these flowers on the way here? "But the Bible says not to lie, steal, commit adultery, or bear false witness." "How many of those are you guilty of, huh?" "All of them," Sister answers. Mom throws the flowers onto the ground. "It's Craggle, isn't it? He's turned you against me. Everyone is against me," said while stomping her foot. "Craggle didn't do anything to do that. It was all you." Then I kid you not, my mother let out a loud noise that sounded a lot like "ree," and then proceeded to lunge assist. But my future brother-in-law intercepted her and had her bend on the floor in seconds pretty easily, as she's not a big woman. "Honey, call the police now." "You can't do this to me, I'm your mother. You're supposed to love me." From there on, it was just some repetitive nonsense while my future brother-in-law held her down until the police arrived. Predictably, as soon as they showed up, evil Mama Bear started screaming, "Help! This racial slur is attacking me for just wanting to see my daughter. He's brainwashed her, do something." Sis says, "I do not want her near me." Evil Mama Bear struggled a bit more and the cops had to restrain her, and she ended up screaming at them that they were all racial slurs too, which got her a shiny new pair of bracelets and a frog march into a police car. The police got a copy of the camera footage and then carted the evil Mama Bear off to jail. Still waiting to find out how that one is going to go down. Well, here is an update to the situation that I guess it was bound to happen. After my mother's recent arrest for her attempted attack on my sister, when she found out where she and future brother-in-law were living, was the final straw for her workplace. I don't know exactly what went down as I wasn't very involved other than a phone call. My mother spent at least 4 days stubbornly sitting in jail and finally bailed herself out on Monday when no one came to her rescue. Apparently, she was expecting my sister to come running to her aid and apologizing, and that notion has now been shattered when literally no one came to see her. She went on her Facebook and directly stated that she hopes I'm proud of myself because I've taken her baby girl away from her, and that she hopes I burn in hell for making her little princess no longer love her anymore. The family on both hers and my dad's side were less than impressed by her pity party and openly called her out that she's the one likely to go to hell for her actions, because many of them have found out about my Reddit posts because my sister linked them, and were beyond furious that they didn't know about so many of the cruel things she did to me during childhood. She responded with a combination of hate, excuses, lies, and downright denial. But my sister joined in and not only confirmed that every one of my stories that I posted as completely true, but also pointed out how our mother seemed to blame me for everything. Evil Mama Bear did not take that well, but even she couldn't keep playing the blame game with most of the family calling her out. Collectively, they have all told her to shove it because she is an abuser and not to bother coming to visit ever again because she is no longer family to any of them as far as they're concerned. So now my mother has been officially disowned by practically the entire family. She has since deleted the post and all the comments with it after it was only up for about a day. The cousin I have that also works at the same company as my mother can get a lot of information on what happened with her termination other than a few office rumors and what she saw firsthand. But the gist of it all was that someone, not me, called her HR department and told her about everything that my mother had done in the past few months. Apparently, my mother was already on thin ice with the company for some time, and the news of her recent arrest had HR take a little closer look at her, or something like that. And somehow they found the video of her attacking my sister on my social media. My guess is that whoever informed them also sent him the video. They called me at home and asked if it was all true, and I confirmed it. But that's pretty much all I did. I guess they really didn't like all the racist things my mother said and did, so she got the axe pretty quickly. While my mother is good at what she did for the company, being outed as a racist and abuser would get most people separated from their job pretty fast. I certainly wouldn't keep anyone like that under my employ. My father didn't either, as he once fired a man for beating his wife and son some years ago. My cousin said evil Mama Bear had a serious scowl on her face as she silently cleaned out her desk, did the walk of shame and then flipped the bird at the building after going out the door. I guess now the Airbnb is all she has left for income because I doubt anyone in town would hire her at this point. Though it's not like she's short on savings, She was always a cheapskate, and she never contributed much to bills while she and my father were still married. I bet she still got a pretty good amount in the bank to fall back on. That said, my cousin visited her last night and told me that she's gone crazy. She said my mother spent hours doing nothing but drinking, sitting in front of the TV in a dirty nightgown, watching Lifetime movies, and ranting about how everything was my fault. Yeah, like I made her do all those things. Either way, I knew all she did would come and bite her sooner or later. My father used to say that everything bad you do will eventually come back on you in this life or the next. His way of saying what goes around comes around, I guess. In my home country, living abroad now, the gas station has people who will fill your tank for you. It's not optional. These people are paid to put fuel in your tank. That's it. I was one of them during my college years. The fuel we had at the station was unleaded benzene, 95, 98 and 100 and diesel. One day, a regular customer came over. He was a taxi driver. I had seen him before. Both was his taxi car, a Mercedes, and his private car, an Audi. The Mercedes was a diesel car and the Audi was benzene. Keep in mind, back then every taxi in the country was running with diesel. That day he came with a taxi. I've noticed he was a bit out of it, but didn't comment on it. I asked how much he wanted in the tank, and he said, full unleaded 100. I looked at him strangely. You mean diesel? No, I mean unleaded 100. Sir, you have the… I didn't get the chance to point out he was driving his taxi. He goes, young girl, please, I know what fuel my car needs. I looked at him one more time. I was getting pissed at that point, and I say, okay sir, full tank unleaded 100. Is that correct? Yes, thank you. Right away. And I proceeded to put out unleaded 100 in his diesel car. He paid and left. 2 days later, he comes again on my shift with his Audi this time. I go out to greet him, trying not to laugh at his face. What's it gonna be today, sir? Diesel? I asked, trying to bite my tongue. He eyed me carefully and said, unleaded 100 please, full tank. Are you sure? I asked, and he side-checked his car. Yes, thank you. Right away, sir. I filled his tank, and as he was paying, he added, next time I would appreciate it if you told me I was being an idiot and put in the correct gas on the tank. He said seriously, but I could see the humor in his eyes. Was the damage that much? I asked. He groaned. You have no idea. Have a good day. And he left. I never found out what was the cost of the damage, but for my duration at the gas station, when I was the one loading his car, he would always go like, full tank please, without saying what kind.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.